Whispers in the midnight air, ghostly fingers in my hair, shadows dancing by my bed, echoes of the things they once said.
Hi, welcome to another episode of Ghost Girls for the Ghost Curious, the Skeptics, everyone in between, anyone who's had a what the fuck was that moment. This is for you. I'm Leah Richardson.
And I am Nicole Leth.
Ooh.
And we are just two curious girls
Yep.
sitting down to learn more about life by chatting about death and about mystery, especially today with our friend Mattio.
Hi.
Today we have Mattio Martinez with us.
Hi.
Mattio is a comic, a filmmaker, and a fifth-generation Angelino whose roots stretch from the streets of East LA to a tiny Andean village in Ecuador, with a grandfather who made history as one of the first Latino members of U.S. Congress. So cool. And a lineage of women with extrasensory gifts. Mattio lives at the intersection of legacy, laughter, and the unknown. He's opened for big-name comics, headlined clubs, and quietly hears whispers from the other side. Equal parts hilarious and haunted, he's here to share a few true stories that might make you question what's real and what's reaching out. Mattio, we're so excited that you're here.
What an intro.
We were
I'm
working
sweating.
on
I'm
it.
sweating.
We're excited to have you.
Thank you for having me. This is quite exciting.
I love it. So you grew up in East LA. What do you think something most people get totally wrong about LA or like your neighborhood?
Yeah, I think I always tell people that the West Side is the LA of TV and film.
Yes.
Like when people from outside of California want to come here, that's where they want to move. And they do.
Yeah.
And they do.
But I think the East Side, I always say it's so dumb, but I say it's like more the rap version of LA.
It's true.
But yeah, I was born in oh my gosh, I'm gonna say this. I was born in 1975. So
That's hot.
Great year.
Thank you. Yeah. So I've seen LA really change over the past 50 years, up and down, inside out. How the neighborhoods have shifted. Certainly like in my part of East LA that I live now, I still live there. It's the gentrification is a thing, but there's still like, especially where I'm at in Eagle Rock, Highland Park, a lot of Latino families were able to stay, and businesses younger generations helped their parents morph these businesses. And it's really interesting. It's the East Side is a very cool part of Los Angeles. So if anybody wants to come visit, definitely Highland Park, Eagle Rock, you got to come down.
Love that area.
Yes.
What are some of your favorite go-tos, like 3 spots they can't miss in that area?
Yeah. Okay. So definitely number 1 on my list is going to be Via's Tacos.
Yes.
Figueroa.
I love Via's Tacos.
That got a Michelin mention.
No way. That's
Yeah.
a big deal.
Oh, I mean, it is, from taco cart to the heights of French recognition for their fare.
I love that.
It's awesome.
So cool.
Get it. I would also recommend on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, a really good restaurant called Dunsmore, and that's on Eagle Rock Boulevard on the other side of Mount Washington, on the other side of the hill. And they're known for, this guy had a really cool concept to take these old iron ovens and pretty much cook food the way that it was cooked in the beginning of the country's history, and adapt Southern recipes in how they used to make Southern food with these big cast iron fired ovens. Yeah, it's insane. And you can see the oven, it's just nuts, and it warms the whole restaurant.
It's kind of hot in there.
Yeah, it's really, really cool. And then I would say for super duper funsies, I would actually really recommend Goldburger on York Boulevard.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's a little smash burger stand, but
You love?
they bring some fire.
Dude.
So, I'm very proud of my part of town, and I take
Mhm.
advantage of it as much as I
I
can.
love East LA. It's the only part of LA I have felt the most at home in, so it's great. And they do have bomb food, so thanks for those recs.
Yeah, those
for
were
sure.
amazing recs. I feel like we need to
maybe we'll
check
go.
some of them out tomorrow or something. So I need to know, what is your relationship with fear? Do you consider yourself more of a thrill seeker, a runner, or maybe a freeze and process type of person?
That's a great question. I learned too that there's one called fawn.
I just learned this too.
My therapist says that's me.
How do you just
That's why we're friends.
It's so true.
That's so funny.
What is fawn again? I can't remember.
You try to make friends with the evil thing
Oh,
that's
okay.
threatening
I
to kill
kind of think
you.
that's me.
Oh, that's probably you too,
I
Nicole.
kind of
Yeah.
think it's me, a people pleaser.
Yeah, total people pleaser.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you'll have to forgive me. The jasmine is in bloom outside of my window, and so I'm a little.
You're fine.
Okay.
I have Claritin.
A little
Yeah.
congested. Thank you. Sorry, people at home. How gross.
I like it.
But yeah, I think that's definitely, it's not fight or flight or freeze. It's definitely fawn.
Relatable.
Mhm.
I get it. I get it.
Mhm.
When did you first get the sense that something else might be out there beyond us?
Yeah, I think it's weird because like I think as a comic, it's a weird kind of calling to have.
Yeah.
It's I don't know where it comes from or why it's there, and I fought it for a long time. I was almost 38 before I started doing stand up.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, my husband almost died from a brain aneurysm, and I didn't know we could die like on any given day. I didn't know that was a possibility. So
oh my God.
after he suffered the aneurysm, I had this document on my computer, which at that point was like 15 years old, called The Act, where I would just put jokes that I would write.
Oh.
What?
Yeah. And I was like, hey, you know what? If you don't do this and you're in a position where, because he was conscious of the fact that he may go into surgery and not survive.
Yeah.
And so I was like, you know, if I was in that situation, I know this is something I would regret not doing. So I got to work. And my mind as a comic has always tended toward the skeptical.
Ooh.
Even as a kid, you know, I'm a very sort of emotionally driven person
Yeah.
and very in my feelings, which you mentioned in the intro. You know,
Yeah.
that's because I come from a line of women on my mom's side, the Ecuadorian side, who have some extrasensory capabilities. And I was very much in tune with that as a kid. And what was so weird was that as an adult, I ended up visiting a sort of energy healer who just one day was like reading me like down to the floor about some of the things I used to try as a kid that I had never told anybody in my life.
Wow.
You know, just trying to move my consciousness out of my head into a part of the room where I can maybe see myself. Yeah.
That's really, really cool. You were trying that as a kid.
Yeah. I would do like dowsing, which is where you hold the little pendulum over your hand to try to divine answers.
That's so cool.
I was into that. I was into trying to, you know, move things with my mind, stuff like that when I was a kid. I was just really into it because for me, like I had an awareness of these other feelings and these other, like another connection that I had to people that didn't seem very common. And I was trying to understand it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're surrounded by these extrasensory women, like this lineage. Like, how did that manifest? Like, what did you observe them doing? And like, what was that experience like as a kid?
So this is like the most black and white of those experiences. But generally the women in my family would, they would be able to, they would get up in the morning and say, you know, be careful today. One day my aunt got up when I was staying with her and she was angry and I was like, what's going on? And she's like, I had a dream that I was going to get a ticket and I feel like I'm going to get a ticket today. And I was like, oh, okay. And I didn't tell her that I also had a dream that she got a ticket.
What?
I know, because here's the thing about my feelings, okay?
Yeah.
I have always had my feelings, but I've always discounted them because I'm like, it's just a thought. You're having like some weird intrusive thought.
Right.
Yeah.
I get it.
Until they get validated. So then sure enough, she got a ticket, but it wasn't for speeding and it wasn't even for like blowing past a stop sign. Like it was for her front license plate had somehow fallen off the car.
Oh my God.
And we got stopped for that. And like, cause she was extra careful.
Right.
You can't be extra careful about that. And she didn't even know it was gone. And I didn't tell her that I also had the dream that she was going to get pulled over. Cause I just, you know, I think that's been my relationship to that part of my experience in my life is I don't believe it. And every time it happens and comes true, I'm like, Maddie.
Yeah.
Hey, you got this. You know, it's weird. It's a weird relationship to have because there isn't really a lot of validation for it until after whatever happens
That's
comes true.
so true.
That tracks. Yeah.
You got to go with your gut.
Yeah.
That is so true.
Do you think it's, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No.
Do you think it taught you to listen to your gut more? Like these synchronicities, these moments where you're like, oh, I should have just trusted that premonition or whatever.
I think because of the way I grew up, like my parents God bless them, and I'm really close to them now. But they were working through some difficulties as I was growing up.
Yeah.
Let's say. I didn't have the greatest self-esteem, and so trusting myself, believing in myself, just not something I did.
Yeah.
I was blessed to be able to be really observant and have my feelings, and so I started to try to make sense of the world with my mind, with science, with my intellect.
Yeah.
But that meant pushing these other feelings to the side a little bit.
Yeah.
So recently, as I've been doing more what we call shadow work.
I've heard of it.
Yeah, if you're a Jungian out there, audience, Carl Jung, the
Love Carl.
psychologist. Yeah. I've been trying to, make peace with that part of myself and go a lot more with my gut, try to feel the flow instead of fighting it so much.
Yeah.
And so, I'm trying to just get into that place with myself, but still very difficult because of like my comic skeptic mind.
Right. Yeah. That makes sense.
So you feel like the skeptic part of you is kind of linked to this comedic side of you.
For sure.
Do you think they clash? Your comedian brain, do you think it clashes with your intuition at all?
I think, my life has always been a very like a sort of circus of split. Like you mentioned in the intro, like my dad's father, my grandfather Marty, was a business owner, and eventually he became mayor of my hometown, Monterey Park, which is just right outside of LA. When I was born, he was mayor, and then he eventually went into the state assembly, and then you got elected to Congress.
That's
so
a big
cool.
deal.
It was very cool. It was a big deal, especially for Latino people, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we were very proud of him. And so there was a lot of wealth, there was a lot of power, there was a lot of public awareness of him and my family.
Yeah.
I was the oldest son of his oldest son, so there was legacy and empire.
Yes, the legacy.
Whoa.
But on my mom's side, she was from this like tiny small village in Ecuador, and she grew up impoverished and very fearful of not having enough resource.
Yeah.
And so it was a very big split, those two worlds, to be raised by my very spoiled child dad and also raised by my very, by your bootstraps, impoverished, come from a third world developing nation country. And so I've always felt like a very big spectrum within myself of motivation, of worldview.
Yeah.
So it's hard to reconcile all that when you come from such a weird
That makes sense.
divergent background.
It does make sense. Like you can hold all these experiences and thoughts and realities all within your one body and experience.
We all contain multitudes.
Yeah, so many multitudes. If you had to define skepticism, how would you define it?
Yeah, I think it's just it's that questioning. It's the immediate questioning of what you're seeing and what you're feeling and what you're thinking and what you're being given and what you're observing. And I think it's healthy. To really apply that eye to things. Sometimes I go overboard, and sometimes I can miss things because I'm not in lockstep with the other part.
That makes sense.
Was there like an experience, like a ghost story or something, like the first ghost story that you heard or, digested in some way that really shook you to your core?
I grew up in like suburban LA, which is not very old, like our house dates back to the 1970s, to borrow from Clueless. It wasn't until I had finished graduate school and I was living in my first sort of like big boy apartment, and I had a roommate, his name was Chris, and we're still friends. And
cool.
We had this experience because we both moved into this older building here in Los Angeles that had been built like in the, I want to say like 1910s, 1920s.
Old.
Yeah, which is really super old for LA.
Yeah.
And we had some pretty like intense experiences there that I don't know, like I never really thought about ghosts in that way until we lived there. When we first started living there together, everything was cool, but then like maybe like 2 months afterwards, we would hear the doors in our bedrooms, because the way that it was situated was it was a long apartment.
Yeah.
In the very front was the door that led right into the living room, bedroom, bathroom, bedroom.
Okay.
And then a hallway that connected all of it.
Oh,
Okay.
One of those long, narrow,
Long, narrow hallways. Right. So we would be in the living room and we would hear the doors to our bedroom slam shut. And I was like, There was zero wind.
Yeah.
None of the doors or windows were open, or the windows were open to close them. I remember going back there and I was like, what? So I got up and I was like, none of the doors were closed. And I was like, I heard. Cool, fine. So I would go, and at first I was like, I must be hearing other apartments.
Right.
Oh,
But
yeah.
over the next few months, like it wasn't just slamming doors. The lights would go on and off in the hallway.
No, that's so scary.
And again, we attributed it to, just the age of the building and maybe
Right.
the wiring was wacky.
Right.
A fire hazard. Anyone?
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 But things started to get more intense. One night, like we were just literally having wine in the living room watching TV. It's like 10:30 at night and we hear, I swear, what sounds as if, and I kid you not, it sounds like a piano crashed through the ceiling.
Oh.
And landed in the back of the apartment. And it would always be, because we were always in the living room hanging out, and all of this stuff was happening in this hallway / bedroom area. So Chris and I look at each other, right? And because we, by this time, with the slamming doors, the crazy lights, the weird sounds, we were like, you heard that, right?
Oh.
And so we go back there.
What?
It's nothing.
Oh my gosh.
Ooh.
Is Chris also like kind of a skeptic? Or
Totally.
Like, okay, so
In
you guys
fact,
are both kind of like
Chris
skeptics.
is an accountant.
Okay, so the
like
most-
a CPA.
He is a
Wow.
numbers guy. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So he's like,
Yes.
yeah. Oh my God.
I think because of like my South American background and us being a little bit more superstitious,
Yeah.
I always thought like maybe like the imagination, the subconscious was on overdrive.
Right.
But to have him there to like validate these things that were happening was really helpful for me.
Oh,
Yeah, that had
I'm
to be very
sure.
like rooting it. You're like, this is happening. Like
It's not-
the accountant is noticing.
Yes.
Okay.
The accountant is noticing. It's harder to gaslight yourself when the accountant is noticing.
Yeah.
We ended up moving out after just a year.
Yeah.
Okay.
I met who would become my future husband, Philip, and we
Oh.
moved to Germany
Oh.
and for 10 years. And
Wow.
then he ended up meeting his future husband and moving in with him.
Oh.
But we gave the apartment, because it was great rent, to my sister. And my sister, after like 2 months of living there, she goes, hey, do you ever hear weird things in the
Oh my
apartment happen?
God.
Listen, I didn't want to freak her out.
Right.
Yeah.
And also, it sounds a bit crazy. I thought, because, we were back in those days, like we would have wine in the evening.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what it was.
Right.
But she would hear the sounds, the doors, the lights, the whole 9 yards. But she said one night, it was after midnight and she was home alone in the apartment. Her boyfriend wasn't with her at the time, who became her husband.
Mm.
She was walking down the hallway one night. She said the lights went out, the door slammed shut, and she was wearing her hair in a ponytail, and she felt
No.
someone grab her ponytail
No.
and pull her back. She literally fell to the floor.
No.
Fell to the
it was
floor.
that hard of a
Mhm.
pull. Oh my
Mhm.
God.
No way.
Mhm. And she called me that night and was freaked out and was crying. And and I was like, okay. So I kind of just started downloading all the stories of like what Chris and I had experienced in the apartment.
Whoa.
Well, I have goosebumps
I know, me
about that.
too.
Like,
It was wild. And my sister, she isn't like a real believer.
Right.
I wanted to ask that too. Like, where does she fall on the skeptic spectrum?
We just never really talked about stuff like
Mhm.
that growing
Right.
up. Like it just wasn't
Right.
anything that like I kept my sort of thing away from her because my brother and sister, so my mom didn't speak a lot of English when I was born. And so the Spanish that I learned, I always had that way of communicating with my aunts and my grandparents that my brother and sister didn't have. They didn't learn Spanish.
Oh.
But they also had like, by the time my brother and sister came along, I think we were a little bit more Americanized, if that makes any sense, because my
Mhm.
mom had just gotten really into the culture and she was speaking English a lot better.
Yeah.
And so for me, like I always thought that came from the conversations that I would have with my aunts and my grandparents.
Yeah.
And I didn't really ever share that with her, not until that apartment. And it was really crazy.
Oh. Did you have to do anything? Like, did she have to stage it, get a priest? I don't
Yeah.
know. Like,
What did she do after the ponytail incident?
or did she move?
They ended up moving. They had to
Okay.
fulfill the lease.
Mm.
But nothing like that had happened to her, I think, on a physical level again. But she would all the time deal with the doors and the lights.
Oh.
So it was just omnipresent.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I
know,
I am
just
shook
like-
by the ponytail story.
Ponytail thing's intense.
That was intense. Yeah.
Whoa.
I feel like that's also like a common thread we're experiencing in some of these haunted house stories is like the most intense expressions will happen when like someone's alone there and like their roommate or partner is out of town. Like we're hearing that a lot. It's
Yeah.
like
Oh, interesting.
when they're alone, that's when like the most intense manifestation or experience
when
happens.
they're like the most vulnerable.
Fascinating.
Wow. Okay.
Did not know that.
That-
I mean, just what we've been hearing the last few days, but
that is so
that is wild.
crazy.
Can you tell us about your aunt? We read about in the form that we have everyone filled out.
Yeah.
You mentioned something about your aunt and what happened after she passed. And
Yeah, so there's 3 sisters in my mom's family, and the youngest is with whom I had the cop experience.
Yeah.
But my mom's oldest sister passed away when she was just 60. She passed away from breast cancer.
Oh.
wow.
And for about 5 days after she had passed away, the same thing was happening in terms of like the lights with my cousins. My aunt passed away on a Saturday, and Sunday morning they would all go to church at 9 a.m.
Okay.
and they would have to leave the house at like 8:45 to get there. At 8:45, the 3 cars that they had that had alarms at the time all started going off. At
No.
8. Yes. But it was like for that first few 5 days, like it was a bunch of things. It was like, again, closing doors. It was boxes falling off of shelves that were very securely on these shelves, full of like memories and like letters that my aunt had written.
Yeah.
They themselves had experiences with her in dreams where she was talking to them.
Wow.
And she was talking as if she hadn't passed away.
Really?
Yes. And that to me was the same thing that all 3 of them said that. All 3 of my cousins at the time said that. And I thought that was really interesting, and I couldn't understand exactly why. And I think in the time since then, because again, it wasn't like a big interest for me, ghosts or,
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense now a little bit to me after doing some research, why that might happen. And so it really tracked along with their experience.
What did your research tell you about why it might happen?
Yeah. So I started getting into a lot of people who had near-death experiences. And one thing that they mentioned was that a lot of them have this inability to tell if what's happening is a dream or if it's really that they've crossed over.
Wow.
And so, I want to say the Tibetan Book of the Dead does describe that when you cross over, it is like your consciousness is experiencing something that it's not really used to. It does feel like a dream. Certain people who get really heavy into meditation will tell you that their waking life, after they've meditated long enough, also starts to feel like a dream.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Like perpetually.
Yeah.
Perpetual dream.
Yeah. And so,
Wow.
because you can move your consciousness into a more objective space about what the material plane is. So for these people that don't have any sort of like, recognition of what might be happening to them, they get a little lost. They are still in the space of maybe their home, like my aunt was.
Yeah.
But not knowing like why she can't maybe communicate as directly with the people in her life as she was wanting to communicate. And so out of frustration, they do this. Now, until they're able to recognize their spirit guides as being good forces in their spiritual journeys, if they don't recognize, like really not knowing who their friends are, if they have a lot of unfinished business, then they're not able to cross over into this different plane of higher spiritual awareness and consciousness. And they will often then fall back into the material plane. And it takes a different amount of time for different people. I don't know if I believe any of that, but after reading that, independent of my aunt's experience, I was able, for me, I connected the two and I was like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think that a person like my aunt wouldn't know what was going on. She wasn't somebody who was very deeply immersed in, what a spiritual journey might be and what it is, and so I could see how she would fall into this sort of confused place of consciousness.
That makes sense.
Makes a lot of sense. Just based on your story and other ones we've heard, it sounds like
Yeah.
some spirits, and again, I don't know for sure, but are struggling to cross over, and then they
Yeah.
get kind of stuck in this loop, and then they're doing these things to get attention, and a lot of it's very similar, like the doorknobs and the doors closing and the noises, and it's like, it's just interesting to hear it, that it can take certain
Yeah.
spirits longer to get out of that loop.
Those
Seemingly.
those it does give, like, I'm frustrated, like, I'm just
Yeah.
like the
Help
door,
me.
yeah, help me, knocking,
Yeah.
pulling the ponytail, like,
Yeah.
I'm just like, I don't know what's going on, and
because
I'm
it feels malicious, but maybe it's just desperation.
desperation, I think,
don't
is a
know.
good word for it.
Yeah. So that's
Yeah.
interesting. So maybe that was what was going on with your aunt,
Maybe. I
Maybe.
mean,
Yeah.
it's so hard because like all of the stuff, like literally, that's why they call it faith. We just have to try to find a way to, make sense of it in the way that we can.
Yeah.
But I think, human beings have been around for so long, and, there's been all kinds of experiences. And, I think there are more answers available than maybe what is culturally acceptable. And so I think now in this time in my life, I've started to kind of open myself up a little more to, I hate to put it in these terms, but like magic, like that they're like that there's maybe like a little bit of magic in the universe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I married an atheist, a
Right.
devout atheist.
We have questions
German.
about that.
We do have questions about it. Yeah.
From Deutschland.
Love
Und
it, love
this
it.
is Matthew. This is completely crazy what you are talking about. Please, bitte. Nein, Matthew, nein.
I love
My
it.
husband just didn't believe, and he gave me these like books on atheism. And I remember reading the first one by Richard Dawkins, and by page 30, I was no longer a Catholic, and I was like, oh
At
man.
page 30,
So funny.
Yeah.
you're like, I'm changed.
That's so funny.
But I lived like that for a long time, and
How
the world
long?
did almost 10 years, I think, of just
Wow.
being like, if it's not science, it's sorcery. And I don't believe in sorcery, damn it. But I couldn't live like that. So I allow for there to be a 2% chance of magic in the universe. The universe is probably 2% magic.
I like
And
that.
that's a nice, like,
it just stopped feeling in alignment with you and
Yeah.
especially in light of maybe some of the experiences you've had. Do you think that shift happened after the 10 years of being atheist? Like, do you think there's something that, was there a moment where it shifted for you, or?
oddly, it happened around the same time that Philip had the aneurysm.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Because I started to think a lot about like, what is our purpose? What are we doing here?
Yeah.
I've always had this weird feeling, as mismatched as I am with my family, my nuclear family. This is going to sound crazy. But ever since I was a little kid, and I started to first think about these questions, maybe when I was like 6, 7, 8, I had this weird feeling like I chose these circumstances.
Ooh.
Like, I chose this family, I chose this time, I chose this identity, I chose this body, I chose this hair, I chose this name, I chose this story to live.
Wow.
And there's something I'm here to learn through this journey, through this particular part of the story. And it's always, I think, guided me what it is I'm meant to learn as this guy, as Mattio Martinez.
Have you figured it out?
It's interesting because so much of my life has felt like one big preparation for something.
Wow.
I don't know if it's stand up, because I talk to, complete strangers 2-3 times a week about my life, and trying to illuminate, the similarities between my very niche experience of my background and what is universal about it with a lawyer, what is universal and has stuff in common with a teacher.
Yeah.
And those people all come to the shows.
Yeah.
People of all different economic backgrounds, jobs, ambitions, and we're able to find that.
Yeah.
But I don't think I have reached my final Pokemon form. And so I keep seeking, and I keep going in for where else can I grow? Where else can I learn about what I'm meant to do here?
I love that.
Do you feel like you're close?
My daughter was born, she'll be 2 in June.
Oh, congratulations.
And that was just like a real accelerator on the journey in terms of couching like the meaning of my life in a greater context. and I'm just shocked. Like I think sometimes I wonder if that's what I was meant to do, was really just be her dad. She is just a very uniquely special little human. This is her. This is just her from yesterday.
From yesterday.
Yeah.
She's beautiful.
Thank you. She is an
She is
adventurous.
beautiful.
Her pigtails.
This is off topic, but how do you take such amazing photos? We'll talk about it later.
Yeah,
no, like
the photo
Thank you.
is so good.
the bond you have with her is very sweet and special. I feel like you're like, and not to be cheesy, I feel like you're like soulmates with your daughter. It's like a very sweet connection, you know.
It's wild because I've applied the same kind of thing to her. Like, she was meant to come into this life where from the jump, she is loved. And whatever she needs to learn through like that experience, I feel like it's part of my destiny to facilitate that experience. And I take it way seriously. I don't take it just seriously as a dad. I take it as part of my spiritual practice and part of my spiritual journey, to let her reveal to me what my purpose is. And it's crazy. I can't believe how meaningful and educational and fulfilling this part of my life has been. I don't know. Everything I've ever learned, I just feel like, let's do it. Let's go. You know, already she's very funny, which I didn't intend to teach her at all. I don't want you to be a stand-up comic. You're going to have a much better life.
I know. It's so funny.
But she's very funny, and I just let her be funny, and she cracks me up.
Ivy, I love
that. So I have a question. I really, really think it's beautiful what you were saying. Like, you've had this deep feeling that you kind of chose this life, this time, this family, and that there's some underlying purpose. Do you feel like that experience, or that feeling, has made some of the hard moments more tolerable?
One of the things that I learned about consciousness is that, so in your mind, right, you always have this little voice going. But you are the thing listening to that voice.
Wow.
And you, that part of you, your consciousness, never speaks.
You're the listener.
That's correct.
I've never heard it described like that.
And so that consciousness, whatever's happened to you in your life that has been super painful, that consciousness can withstand that pain and looks at that pain and doesn't have an opinion about that pain. That consciousness is the strongest force in the universe. Consciousness as a product of the material universe, it doesn't make sense. I think it comes from the bigger context of what we're doing. And that consciousness can withstand, it's diamond hard. It can see and take anything. And so when I go to that part of myself, it helps me have a different relationship to the pain, to the history, to the negative events. Because I say, well, that part of me that survived, that is unbreakable. That is connected to something bigger. And I will never lose that connection. That is a gift that I was given to withstand whatever's coming to me. So don't fear going into this difficult thing that you're going to put yourself through to learn. Stand up. Every time I go on stage, girl, I am freaking the F. I hate it.
Every time.
Leah will tell you.
I'm like, why do we do this?
Why do we do this?
And then after, I'm like, oh, that's why.
It is. After you're done, you're very proud that you did it.
Yes.
But going into it, you just, because you never know how it's going to go.
Every time.
Talk about faith. Talk about a leap of faith.
Yeah.
And that part of me that is unbreakable.
Yeah.
I rely on that thing to get me through.
Yeah.
I can show it anything and do anything and make the craziest choices. And it's like, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Interesting.
I love it.
That's so beautifully
I'm so
said.
glad you pursued stand-up because he's very funny. I'll show you his stand-up.
you.
He's
Thank
like
you.
really funny.
I'm obsessed. Mattio is amazing.
Oh, thank you.
You know, real quick, one thing I like about you is like, I was telling her, like, he doesn't do small talk. Like, he's just deep. And I guess you can do small talk, but I like that you can, but I like that you just get to the real. And like, I always know like where you're at. And like, I like how transparent it, like, connected to your feelings you are. So
yeah.
I also really like that.
It's a beautiful
You're
quality.
amazing to talk to.
Oh, thank you. I always say, and this is somebody, I forget who said this to me. It's one of our comic friends.
Yeah.
And they're gonna get back to me.
You'll be hearing them from them.
I had a really bad show one night, and she said, "Hey, you can only have as much fun as the audience wants to have."
Oh.
And I think that's true. I think with anybody who I'm ever talking to, I can only go as deep as they want to go and can go and are comfortable going. But wherever they want to go, let's go. I'll meet you.
You're down.
You're good at meeting people.
I'm
That's
down.
true. That's true. You are good at that. So you're someone who's spiritually sensitive. Do you think that has any connection or correlation to like your emotional sensitivity as well?
Yeah, I don't think you can separate it, meaning that like I've always had for instance, I say this about my writing, I write for a person's inner child.
I love that.
It's weird. It's weird. And I had to really like understand that. Like, cause I think because my childhood was so hard, and I think that's kind of where, for lack of a better word, I got stopped in being able to freely express myself. That's the part of people I connect with, to make them feel safe, to make them feel seen, to make them feel loved and wanted and connected and not alone. So I've always had that gift. And what I've had to do is understand psychology, understand spirituality, understand, a larger context to make sense of that innate ability.
Yeah.
Because it's been there, and it's been a little bit of a burden sometimes because, I can't always be with somebody and not on board their pain, their history.
Yeah, I think we've talked about this. I think you and I both, and you and Nicole as well, all have a bit of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we deeply relate to that. Leah and I are extremely sensitive, and I think we're always having these conversations where we're like, we love our sensitive side, but at times it caused so much hurt.
I wish
and
we could shut it down a little more.
Yeah.
Or just, I don't know. Yeah.
What is your relationship to your own sensitivity? Do you ever struggle and wish that you were more closed off?
No, I think, and I will say this to you guys, the key is really taking care of you the way that you take care of others. And it's so hard to refocus that energy that way. So difficult. So difficult.
Yeah.
And that's what the shadow work is about. Because there's so many parts of myself where I'm like, well, that part stinks and that part sucks. And it's like, no, that part needs you. That part wants you. That part's calling to you. Go.
Yeah.
And so I go in there and I try to connect with that part of myself that needs me the most today. And that has been really working because I've started to really build confidence with being with myself.
Yeah.
I've started to be more trusting of myself. I've started to count on myself a lot more to be there for me. Because for a long time, it was like, put out every fire. I said this to Leah years ago. And I remember saying it to you because I had just come to it. I said, because Leah said, I don't know that I'm always friends with people that I like.
That's true.
And I said, you know what? That's because we go where we're needed.
Yes, oh my God, I was going to say, that kind of changed my life when you said that. I was like, yeah, it just makes so much sense. And it made me understand it more. I'm like, why do I do this? So do you think we need to learn how to like give that back to ourselves a little bit? Or I don't know.
It's about spending more time with people we want to spend time with.
Yeah.
Where it's easy to spend time with them. We don't always have to work, but we are so compelled to do the work because we are surrounded by, people lost on their journeys that we know we can get them that next step.
Yeah.
We know we can be there for them to get them just a little more centered in who they are authentically.
Yeah.
And so it becomes like this save everybody.
Yeah.
But it's about the moderation and the balance and finding how to apply that inward too. And then that gives me, so far, that's given me a lot more strength to even help a lot more people through stand-up because I'm that much more vulnerable and comfortable with my vulnerability.
What are the physical actions or things that someone can do? Like, I love the example of choosing to spend time with people that you want to instead of people who need you. But do you have any other examples? Like, because I need to know this, like how to give back to myself to be able to show up from a more energized and truthful place.
Yeah, for me, I know it's going to sound so crazy, but like, I didn't realize how closed off I was physically in terms of expressing physical affection to people until the baby. And then I'm like, oh, so with my friends, like I've just been like, hey, listen, I might be just addicted to touch now because I've had so much, but I'm gonna give you a reassuring squeeze on your shoulders, or sometimes I'm gonna be in the hug just a second longer to make sure that we're connecting. And that has really helped me regulate inside and co-regulate with others around me just to have that moment. And I have to push myself because I get really embarrassed. I feel like I'm asking too much. I feel like I'm being a weirdo. And I'm like, nope. No one ever died from like just a better hug.
I love it. This is
And
really
it's like 10% more hug, bitch. Like, relax.
High
so
impact.
funny. I love hearing you say this because you were like working on a bit during the pandemic that was something like my worst nightmare is when someone says, I'm a hugger.
Yeah.
And so it's so funny that having your daughter kind of opened up this other side of you. I love it. I think that's
Yes.
beautiful.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
Did we cover all your like your spooky paranormal moments? I don't even know.
Yeah, for the most part, I would hear things from friends over the years, like their own little ghost stories here and there.
Yeah.
But to have like my own and have experienced that was a little weird, only because I wasn't looking for it.
Right.
Right.
It just found you.
And it became a little bit of a problem when I was trying to make better sense of my world.
Yeah.
At first, through being a devout atheist and just being like, if it's not science, it's not real. But those experiences, they were there for a reason. And yeah, I think too, trusting my own ability to connect energetically with other people is a real thing.
Yeah.
And I let people tell me, and it's so hard to let it in because, I feel embarrassed. I'm like, oh, because you're a weirdo. That's why. But it's not. It's just that, I think I'm a little bit more heart forward.
Yeah.
So a big thing that Leah and I are trying to figure out through this podcast is we're trying to learn more about life by having these conversations about death. And I want to know, based on the experiences that you've shared and just the life that you've lived, what has all this taught you about life and death?
Yeah, I think it's a really great thing to think about death all the time, your death all the time.
Yeah.
Because it really helps to contextualize what you're doing with your life all the time.
That's true.
And a lot of people avoid it because either they avoid it or it's not important. Some people are really scared of it. Other people are like cross-eyed braves when I come to it.
Yeah.
But no, I want to deal with it now.
Yeah.
It isn't something that I think you could ever really prepare yourself for. I remember I had a dog and I loved this dog with all of my heart. And I asked a dog owner who had just lost their dog, like, what can I do to prepare for, my doggies passing on? And she said, you can't. That moment is just going to be what it is. And you can think about it and you can try to get yourself ready, but it's going to be its own experience. And what's important is to let that moment that is coming inform your right now. Let the magic of that moment inform your present. And so I think that's true about my life too. I know there's going to be a time when I am going to have to say goodbye. I'm not scared of it anymore. I think for a long time I was, but lately I'm just like, oh no, bring it.
Oh yeah. Wow.
When it's life, I think happens to you as much as you're making it happen. And on any given day, the balance of that can be really off. Sometimes life is like, here's what's in store for you.
Yes.
And then sometimes you get up and you're like, oh, life, here's what I got for you.
Yeah.
And it's that constant dance. But I think over the years, I've gotten to a better place of knowing the moves and knowing the steps and knowing the choreography, and it feels better. And then I can like really throw myself into it some days. Yeah. And that feels awesome. So again, that happens because I think I am so focused on the end and what it's going to mean.
Yeah.
That was so beautifully
I know,
said.
chills.
Thank you for
you're very
I don't
welcome.
know, your language and story and how you share it.
Absolutely.
It's very, very nice.
Yeah. We have a question we're asking everyone.
Yeah.
If you could leave one ghostly message for the living, like a message scrawled on a foggy mirror or like written on a wall or like Red Rum style, like what would be the message you would leave for the living?
I think love is just the most powerful force that we can wield in our life.
Yeah.
And the way we love people, the way we love our story, because you are every age you ever were right now. And the way you love 5-year-old you and 12-year-old you and 16-year-old you and 21-year-old you and 25 and 30. And for me, 35, 40, 45-year-old me.
Yeah.
That's so important to really just clue into the connection that you have to what you've been given in your story from the universe. It's about gratitude. We talk about that, but it's a miracle that we're alive. The number statistically of what it takes for you to even manifest on the material plane in this form. It's crazy. If they say this, but like the universe, if any of the numbers was off just a little bit, like the gravitational pull, atomic weights, things like just these little tiny things, it's really like the universe had to shoot like a rock across the entire expanse of space and hit a bullseye this big to create the conditions for us to even have this moment.
Yeah.
And it hit it. When you think about like what a miracle that is, every moment you can just understand the love it took from whatever that is to get it just right so that we can have our own individual experience as this. And then, let the pain happen. Let the bad stuff happen. Let the good stuff in. Just love. That's what I would write. Love. And let people just think on love in all of its manifestations, in all of its ways. The math, the aesthetics, the story, the meaning of it. Yeah.
That's beautiful.
That's so freaking beautiful.
Jeez, I feel like I just went to like a beautiful TED Talk.
Actually,
I'm so embarrassed.
No, I'm sorry. That was a compliment. I mean, like, I don't know. Are you Maya Angelou? It's just beautiful.
Seriously, that
so sweet.
Quenched my soul. Mattio, thank you so much. Do you have anything that you want to plug or share with our listeners?
Or where can they find you?
Oh, yeah. You can find me on Instagram. You'll see a lot of pictures of Ivy. I think it's just an Ivy shrine, but at Mr. Mattio, at MrMattio. And sometimes I write little things on there that might be helpful to people. And if anybody has questions, they can definitely contact me that way. And I like other seekers just like myself, which is I've just met you today, Nicole, but I Lee and I, we had this instant thing from the moment we met where I was like, oh, I know what you are.
No, it's true. I told Sean that. I was like, felt like I could tell you everything immediately.
And I felt like I knew so much immediately. You
recognize a fellow sensitive soul.
It's
true. It's true. Well, and hopefully, you can catch his stand up too. He's in the clubs.
Yeah, that's right.
He's in the club.
That's right.
Maybe
Isn't that
dancing.
weird that I do that. Having this talk.
No, I love it. I love it. But thank you so much for doing this and for being so open and for sharing. And this has been another episode of Ghost Girls.
It's a podcast where we try to figure out more about life by talking about death.
And until next time, stay curious.
Stay so curious.
Bye.
Footsteps fading down the hall, paintings moving on my wall, chills that wrap around my spine, trapped between the threads of time.